Welcome to He's Been Doing It All Day, brought to you by the Carlton Draft. Check them out at carltondrafttshirts.com. We're Adam and Simon, and this is round 3.
Hawthorn, Richmond, the MCG. Thursday night football is back, and it was an absolute fizzer. All week I set myself for this game, and nothing. Richmond are officially bored with football, and Alistair Clarkson showed that he taught Damien Hardwick everything he knew. But Alistair Clarkson saved a couple of little sneaky tricks for himself.
It's very true.
Richmond had a chance to have a chance early on in the last quarter, but 4 straight behinds with an absolute howler from Tommy Lynch.
Good guess, though.
Put a really quick end to that. 32-point win to the Poos and Wees.
Tunnels.
Giants versus Western Bulldogs. Ding, ding, ding. Like the rumble in the jungle, this was the Marvel melee. It was on from the outset. The Giants sent Nick Haynes in for the toss after the Bont broke his throat last year. The Giants went 18v1 on the Bont afterwards and snotted him at every chance. Who cares what the footy was like? It felt like being transported back to the 80s. The scrap at halftime was just good viewing. Caleb Daniel genuinely fighting 4 weight divisions above himself. Giants barely register a score. Dogs win by 24 points.
North Melbourne versus Sydney, Marvel Stadium. Todd Goldstein proved early on why ruckmen don't kick, with a sharpish play on and then a straight out of bounds on the full. Not that anyone really cares about this North Melbourne versus Sydney game because, North Melbourne didn't really put up much of an effort, which was a bit disappointing for a Heart North Melbourne fan like myself. On the back of a 5-goal third quarter from Sydney, they really kicked away. North gave a small yelp at the last quarter, but to no avail. Not that anyone cares who won, but Sydney won by 11 points. But whatever, no one cares.
Collingwood versus St Kilda. Expected big things from the Saints after last week's, but easily the most forgettable game of the round. Almost 40 points the difference at halftime. It may as well have not watched the last 2 quarters. It was really thankful that they were only 16 minutes each. Steel Sidebottom's freshly shaved pill gave him a bit of aerodynamic advantage, and he had 31 touches and a goal for the day. The Pies did it in an absolute canter and showed the Saints that there's a long way to go and wiped the floor with them to the tune of 44 points.
Yikes. Geelong Carlton at the Cattery. We saw game of the round. The Baggers got out to a hot start in the freezing cold with no more than 5 players all wearing long sleeves. And that's not including Cade Simpson, who's always running long sleeves, even if it's 30 degrees or more. Paddy Cripps stood up again, but this time had some mates around him. Carlton had glimpses of the last time they resembled something more than mediocrity, with Eddie Betts doing as he pleased early on. Carlton went full Carlton in the last quarter, and Geelong showed us that they actually just weren't trying for the first 3 quarters. Geelong raced home, and Gaz had a chance to rip the hearts out of the long-suffering Baggers fans. But after we backed him last week to kick a goal from 40,
Too many pies.
he missed it.
Too many pies.
16-minute quarters were the saving grace for the Blues as they hung on to win by 2 points.
Brisbane versus West Coast. Crowds back at the Gabba and the Big Birds got swallowed by the Lions. He's been doing it all day. Favourite Hugh McCluggage did his best Simon Black impression as Jared Berry slotted 3 sausages. Nick Nat attempted to bulldoze the team on his own to no avail, and Lockie Neal was the only casualty on the Brisbane list, having been sent immediately to hospital following the game for a bad case of leather poisoning. Chris Fagan screaming, "You effing beauty" on the sideline was the clear highlight as Brisbane roll the Eagles by 5 goals.
Suns Crows at Metricon. The sunny state proved not so sunny for the Crows. And then let me tell you, boys, when I say toot toot, the Suns train is leaving the station. Get on board. The boys are flying.
No Ricky Nixon.
No Ricky Nixon. The first win over Adelaide ever by the Suns was an absolute clinic. With a massive lead from halftime onwards, the young GOAT, Matt Rowell, 20 touches, 10 tackles and kicked a couple of goals when they needed to be kicked. The Suns by 53 points.
53.
But if they are a team that's going to keep winning, they've got to look at changing their song because that song stinks.
It's good.
I don't mind it.
It's no good, boys.
D's versus the Dons. Easy review this game. A positive COVID test from Connor McKenna of the Bombers means that neither team gets to even win the coin toss, let alone the game. We're all left in suspense for a game we don't really care about because neither team is making finals anyway. Who knows when this will be completed, and to be honest, it could be next week, it could be 2 months' time, who cares? The current score represents the amount of care that I have for the result. Bombers 0, Demons 0.
Going in.
And our live update from Freo versus Port. At the moment, the score is also 0-0.
Any positive tests, or were we just ahead of our time?
Just ahead of our time.
Yeah, of course.
Just ahead of our time.
Yeah.
Round 3.
How good were the fights?
Oh, my God.
The scraps.
Footy fights are awesome. When they're like those ones, I don't need like people to be belting each other.
I don't want to see
but
people
I just
knocked
need
out.
an 18 on 18 big tackle fest.
Yeah.
It's just grab a jumper.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like, if you want, grab 2. So grab someone else's.
Yes.
And then just swing around with each other for a
There
little
is
while.
So good.
Nothing better than seeing some bloke have a handful of jumper in both hands going back and forth.
How you going?
Yeah.
How you going? And they always are smiling. I was watching it with my partner Gab, who isn't a footy fanatic, and she's asked, if they're fighting, why are they all smiling?
Because they love it so much.
Oh, this is the best.
They were having as much fun as we were.
Always doing the, how you going? How you going? But the Bont stood up big time in that game.
He did.
Mate, he knew they were coming for him.
Yeah. Well, he broke a throat last year.
Well, yeah, I know. I mean, yeah, but then they bashed him after, so it's fine.
They'll probably stop doing it because he plays well every time teams try and do this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because he stands up and he knows that they're coming.
Genuinely good.
I'll tell you what, I had a friend listen to the show last week. His only feedback was, can you get a bit more Essendon content?
Oh, okay. You can have some.
Neck minute.
Neck
Be
minute.
careful what you wish for.
What is going on down there?
Conor McKenna may have ruined it for everyone.
Mate, he is under the pump at the moment.
Yeah.
I actually,
Couldn't happen to a nicer club.
absolutely.
It's a real shame.
Look, to be honest, Conor McKenna himself, him the person, I do feel a little bit for, because everyone at the moment is definitely going to work going, geez, I hope I don't give it to everyone at work and then we've got to close work down.
Yeah.
Everyone's thinking that. His work just happens to be AFL football.
Yeah.
Connor the player though, who plays for Essendon, couldn't give a rat's.
Connor the person, we love him.
No, I love Connor the person. Hopefully he's being looked after. People are getting around him. But boys at Essendon need to just, I don't know what's happening down there.
Yeah, not sure.
Are they the only ones getting caught? Is that what's happening?
Gillen said in that presser there's been 13,000 tests and there's one positive.
Everyone's getting tested like 2 or 3 times a week
so like,
at
that's
the
pretty
moment.
good. They're going all right.
Yeah.
Do you reckon the AFL just goes full USA style after this? They're like, more tests equals more positive tests, so we're just going to stop testing everyone.
Maybe.
He's hoping they don't do that.
No, don't take one from the playbook of old mate.
And you touched on it in the recap of the game, but the Blues, how did they beat Geelong in Geelong?
They did it.
That was supposed to be the unwinnable game.
But it's not really Geelong because there's no supporters.
True.
So it's just like a skinny oval.
It's a disgrace of an oval. They should bulldoze it. After what happened last week. They shouldn't have won that game, though.
The Blues?
Yeah.
Oh, they
In that last
tried hard
quarter.
not to win it.
Gary out right in front. I think Hawkins missed a set
Brian
shot.
Myers.
Nitro
Yep.
missed one.
Yeah.
And then the touched, which was Cade Simpson. Unbelievable. The one they called a goal and then
Yeah.
turned out
Took it back,
Simpson
yeah.
touched it.
And then the Hawkers. The Hawks rolling the Tigers.
Mate,
Justin would be very happy with himself
how you
over
going,
there.
Justin?
It was a real treat. We were at the pub, and what a time to be alive.
Was the best part beating the Tigers by that much, or was it when Alistair Clarkson in his presser said, "Yeah, I know Geelong did what they did to us last week, but mate, they're not that good."
The first sentence out of his mouth. Talk about been doing it all day. That guy.
I love that people would go to it like, oh, he's been taken out of context. And Clark would be like, no, I haven't.
No, I made the context. The
Oh.
context is we're not talking about Geelong, and I think they stink.
The first thing I could think of was Chris Scott seeing that in the next morning when he flicked on the telly and
So
saw
good.
Clarko say that. His face would have just been like,
So good.
Rage monster.
But speaking of the Richmond and Hawthorn game, up next, our big guest, Tom Lynch. Huge guest today, Simon. And when I say huge, I mean in physical size and in status.
Mate, this is big time.
Huge time.
We've hit the big time. Big key forward.
Richmond Premiership player, Tom Lynch. Thanks for joining us, Tom.
Hi, Adam, Simon. Thanks for having me on the show.
Mate, thanks for coming on. We're always really surprised when people say yes, and especially when they're big market guys. Big market guys.
I've listened to your show. It seems like a lot of fun. So, I was keen to come on.
There you go. One of the 50 people to listen to the show. That's always good news.
You beauty.
So you're normally used to playing in front of like 70,000 people for the last year, Tom. How do you go playing in front of 50?
Yeah, it is weird and different. You can hear a lot more banter on the field, and yeah, it's probably obviously I missed a pretty easy shot on the weekend, so it was one positive that no one's there to see it.
Now that you've brought that up, we were actually discussing whether or not we were going to talk to you about this, Tom. We couldn't not bring it up, but we were going to save it for later. But you've brought it up, mate. What happened?
I wanted to start the interview with saying we got to address the elephant in the room with that shot for goal, and I was talked out of it by the other two. So what happened?
Well, Jack didn't make the distance a week before, so I was more worried about kicking through. I just walked in and just shanked it completely. So I've definitely heard about it. I've had plenty of people message me on Instagram telling me it costed them multis and all that. So, even though there was no one there, there was people watching the game, so I've definitely copped it through those channels.
As soon as you spray that, are you just thinking straight away, you're like, oh, this is going to be a tough week?
Yeah. I don't know. I think I just stood there and just looked and just couldn't believe I did it. Thought.
Do you cop more from your teammates or from the opposition?
I can't remember the opposition saying anything. I think they were probably more shocked than anything. They just, I don't think anyone really said anything. I just sort of
the cruelest sledge is the sledge that never comes. They're like, you know, mate, you know. I reckon Jack owes you a couple of beers though. You've taken the heat right off his goal kicking from the week before, so that's good.
It's all part of the plan for him. So, they can talk about me this week.
Yeah, nice. And will you try and kick him, try and just pass a sneaky one off to him this week? Because he's had a couple of lean weeks, which is quite rare because he has kicked a lot of goals in his career. Will you try and just duck one over to him for a bit of Joe the Goose?
I'm sure he'll probably kick it back this week, knowing Jack. If he has one or two bad weeks, he normally turns around pretty quickly. So I think he'll be fine. When
you are playing, obviously you were saying before, banter is at an all-time high. Who on the weekend's game was running top-notch? Because this is the things that we're interested in. The score, sure, but we're all about the sledging. We're mostly about the sledging, actually. Who gets you going? Who gets you going from your team?
Well, Jack's obviously fairly vocal in the forward line, so him and Sicily were into each other because Sicily's pretty vocal on the field as well. So, they were having a fair old chat on the night. But even stranger, one stage in the last quarter, I heard Lingy commentating from the boundary right, and it was coming across so clear. And I can't remember who said it, but this defender has had a very lean night tonight. So we're copping sledging from Lingy. He's just commentating. So that was probably the weirdest thing that I've heard, just boundary riding Lingy.
I love it. Also, what's it like to be bigger than everyone out there, Tom? Because neither Simon and I are particularly big guys, but you are massive. When you're running into a pack, you're like, this is bowling pins here.
There is. If you get set up nicely, you can clean up someone. It's always a good feeling. It's not as nice when you copper the other way around though. Well, on the weekend I had McAvoy on me, so he's bigger than me. So it was probably the first time really I've had a taller opponent. He's obviously a ruckman that's gone down back at the moment.
Were you spewing when you saw that? When you looked up the field and big boy McAvoy's trotting down, you're like, surely he's not coming to me, is he? Surely not. Give me some small blokes here.
He's pretty big. I've obviously played against him, but I haven't really gone up against him too much because he's been in the ruck. But he's, they call him big boy for a reason, that's for sure.
Who's the best clean-up that you've ever done? So you said when someone sets you up and you can go through and clean up a couple of blokes, is there one that comes to mind that you just absolutely split the pack and put someone down?
I think it was early in my career. The ball went up and I was charging at the footy and the bloke was coming back with a fly and it was Melksham for playing for Essendon. And I thought I'm going to just clean this bloke up. So I got him and I flushed him and then I went to run off and I did my knee. So I missed the rest of the season from it. So I come off second best.
Hit by the karma train.
And then he played the next week, so I was filthy. So that's probably... I thought I've smashed this bloke and he's come off fine and I've set the rest of the season out.
Oh, mate. Hey, so when you so you moved from the Suns a couple of years ago, are you watching what they're up to at the moment? And just a little, tiny bit disappointed that you don't get to play with Matt Rowell, the young goat.
Yeah, I actually watched today's game. They obviously had a really good win, and yeah, he's amazing, Matt Rowell. To come in, obviously he was number one draft pick, so he's obviously a young player, but to have the impact he's already having is pretty amazing. He's not a young player; he's just a really good player. I think
he's thick. He's massive.
Yeah, he's strong, and I was kicking goals in his non-preferred today, so yeah, they've definitely got a very good player. I mean, it's scary to think he's in his third game and he's doing this already. So he's going to go be a star.
Maybe later in the year, the Tigers will be up against the Suns in the finals. That'd be a special occasion.
Yeah. Well, they're playing really good footy at the moment. So, yeah, it's good to see them going well.
Mate, Tommy, I've just got one more question for you. When do you think the Tigers will stop playing like you guys are bored? You guys look really bored. You're like, footy's too easy. Has it become too easy? Is that the problem?
Oh, not on the weekend. We got smashed. So, I don't know about that. But yeah, I think we'll obviously get back on the winners list. I'm not sure if any team started the season 1-1-1 with the draw. So, hopefully we get a win.
Yep, sounds good, mate. And thanks for joining us. Good luck for next week, and we'll chat to you again soon.
No worries. Thanks, Adam. Thanks, Simon.
It's time for our weekly award. Who's been doing it all day? Sime, who's been doing it all day?
This week, mate, I'm going with the Bont.
The Bont.
It was unreal on Friday night.
Yeah.
Because, let's be honest, that is a weird rivalry.
Yeah.
That's come out of nowhere.
Oh,
the Giants.
It's not come out of nowhere.
No. I know where it's come from. But when the Giants were in and someone said, you know what, the Giants are going to have a really hard-fought, physical rivalry, and you pick a team, they're like, yeah, the Western Bulldogs. You're like, okay.
That'd be like, guess who this week's rivalry game is? Gold Coast versus the Saints.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Yes, weird.
It's kind of sick, though, because it makes it
better.
They hate each other.
Yeah, but they like proper hate each other. I feel like
real.
sometimes like Collingwood and Essendon, they kind of pretend hate each other.
Yeah.
But these two like hate each other like Perth teams hate each other or Adelaide teams hate each other. So love it.
The Bont, good-looking guy and an absolute superstar.
Well, straight up, Haynes went to the coin toss in some like pathetic flex from the Giants.
That was like, remember when Adelaide did the power stance? I actually quite liked it though.
And Haynes eyeballed him the whole time.
Yeah, he's like, it's on.
It was rad.
But even before that, Jeremy Cameron was saying, he's like, oh, there's going to be some fireworks. He said it on the broadcast.
Yeah, in the pre-game interview when he's standing in the rooms on FaceTime.
And then they went straight to the Bont, hit him up, free kick, 50 metres, gave away, like, come on, guys.
So the Bont, what was he doing all day?
Mate, he's been the best leader out there. He's been the best leader out there. He stood up in pressure, took it head on, kicked a goal when they needed to kick a goal right in the end just to rub it in their face. Yeah. And he was standing up for him. That second fight, he started that whole one because Libba got dragged around the neck and then Bont was straight in there. He's like, I don't need people to stand up for me. I'll start my own fights.
Doesn't Libba love the fights though?
Libba didn't even get into it.
Awesome.
He's an absolute menace.
Awesome.
We rewatched the last quarter of the 16 granny last night. Do yourself a favour. Libba is just a weapon.
I saw a ripping tweet about Libba actually. It was like, I can't quantify this, but Libba gives them a 5-goal advantage with his little ferret magic energy.
So
yes.
good.
All right, Justin, who's been doing it all day?
I still can't decide.
Go, just give us one. You can't give us two.
Well, that's the problem. I've got like 4 and I still can't decide. Oh, I'm gonna go with Witsy up at the Gold Coast.
Jared Witts, the captain.
Witsy.
Back to Gold Coast for you, mate.
I think it's going to be a common thing.
They're running hot. The boys on the Suns are running hot.
I think he's the definition of unheralded. He got made captain of that team and they've been terrible, not by virtue of his fault. But he's been playing so well for the last 18 months. I reckon he beat Nick Nat last week when they beat West Coast, and he absolutely murdered that O'Brien kid today in Adelaide.
Yeah, I reckon that's a good one, mate.
He's huge too. I know we had Tom Lynch on before, and Tom Lynch is huge.
Massive.
Jared Witts is massive. I've actually been on a dance floor with Jared Witts at 7 nightclub in Melbourne, and he couldn't move his feet left and right, but my God, was he bigger than everybody.
It's so wild when you watch the TV and you're like, geez, that bloke's big on the field. Everyone on that field is massive, and he's way bigger than them.
He's been unreal. last bit. And the fact that they voted him in as captain, I reckon, and then he's played so well. And now
dominating
he's going to get credit and bloody deserves it.
I like it. I like it. Finish this off, Adam.
My who's been doing it all day is Aaron Hall. As soon as Aaron Hall gets the footy, and if he thinks he can kick a goal, oh boy, you are not getting a handball. You are not
Loves
getting
him.
a short pass.
Loves
If he's
him.
within 55,
Yeah, mate.
he's having a shot.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if he's on the boundary and if there's a bloke in the goal square by himself and he's on his left foot and he has to banana it between 4 people, Aaron Hall's having a shot.
Mate, you can't kick goals if you're not trying to kick goals.
I think we should have a club for blokes who try and kick him from anywhere.
Aaron,
I think Aaron's...
Aaron is firmly entrenched in there.
Aaron is the captain. He's hungry.
Mate.
I'd like to nominate Nitro as well from Geelong. Brian Myers.
Yes.
Grind Myers.
He will have a shot from anywhere.
Play on. He
And-
played on advantage.
And we are here for it. We are here for the
absolutely.
hunger.
Absolutely. Like usually in maybe some footy circles, that's not celebrated.
No.
Bet on he's been doing it all day. A hungry hippo in the forward line
Have a
is
pink.
celebrated.
Oh, that's it for another episode of He's Been Doing It All Day. Thanks for joining us. Brought to you by the Carlton Draft. Check them out at carltondraftshirts.com. We'll be back next week for round 4.